So here I'm down here in Chicago, video blog. And all these immigrants escaped issues. They escaped Syria, war-torn countries, or Iraq. And I'm talking in the past. They escaped poverty. They escaped, poor living conditions, poor medical conditions. And they immigrated to the United States. Even my ex, Jennifer Kim, her mother and father immigrated here, and they had a way superior life than they were having in South Korea. And their kids live even better than the parents did. The generation, their kids stepped it up. And the kids had way superior lives than the parents did at their age. My ex Jen, by 24, she traveled all around the United States. She had nice clothes. She bought a beautiful condo. She had lots of money in the bank. She had a superior life. So they get to escape all that, but somehow I don't. And then I'm somehow shackled to a shit life where they propel to new heights. The immigrant dream. So I don't get it. I have all kinds of certifications. I have a college degree, all kinds of certifications, designations. I was in master's program. I'm highly intelligent. I'm very gifted with my skill set. But somehow I'm shackled to a less life than any other immigrant. Or next to me, this black lady that's next to me. Some reason talking to me, I have no idea. But some reason saying something to me. But anyways, it's funny. Why is she better than me? Why does she live above me? And that's how God looks at it. Why the fuck should she be living above me? What are her attributes? What is her human value? What is her fucking worth? Because in a fair and righteous society, and you learn this in economics, applying resources fairly and correctly, and everybody lives their life based on their ability to earn. No one lives above their ability to earn. If I had kids, that would be the same for my children. All based on your productivity. Unlike other people would just give their kids things, not me. They would have to earn their ways. They would have to do good chores, do it in school, good in this. And they earn their way. David used to do it with his kids, mad at them, paying for chores. And they earned their way to better things. He didn't give them shit. Him and Suai. They had to earn it. So if they wanted to go on trips and that, they had to pay for it themselves. They had a weekly allowance for a certain chore set. Taking out the trash, cutting the grass. They got paid a certain amount for their chore set. And if they didn't do chores or did them shitty, they got wage deductions. So they weren't given shit. I wouldn't give my kids shit. Once they moved out of the infant stage, that's the agave love stage, now you got to earn it. And if you fuck up, I'm going to punish you. So I'm going to teach you. I'm not going to go, don't worry about it, it's okay. It's not okay. What did we learn from it? How do we overcome it? How do we make sure it never happens again? It's called teaching moments. But parents let all the teaching moments go by. And everything is okay. That's not how I would parent. There is consequences to actions, and you have to pay the consequences for your actions. Teaching them, if you want good things, you do good things. But, that only doesn't pay off in my life. Just to let you know, it doesn't pay off in my life for some reason. But I would be teaching my kids that way, because usually it pays off. You do good things, you get into MIT. You do good things, you get into Harvard. That's how they get in. It's all performance. So they earn it. And if you don't, you go to a lesser university. So you only get what you earn. So I don't get it. But some reason that doesn't seem to work for me. And so I don't get it. I wouldn't be parenting the way these people. I wouldn't run my family the way these people do. It's the same thing. We had expectations for each other. And if we didn't hit the expectations, me and Jen, in our relationship, then we punish each other. I have certain expectations. You need to accomplish certain things. And if you don't, then I need to punish you. There has to be some form of penalty. And this is what couples don't understand. And this is why marriages and relationships get out of control. Because they don't set up a framework where each other is accountable, and when they do it wrong, there's penalties to pay. And they just let the other get away with it. And that doesn't work in a relationship. It causes serious imbalance. And the hatred builds, and we have over a 50% divorce rate. Expectations, like Jen. She told me, here's this, I need you to pay this ticket. Okay. And then what did I do? I got a money order, I paid the ticket, and what happened? The city of Chicago said the ticket wasn't paid. So what did I have to do? I had to get a copy from the currency exchange of the money order, and I went and got it as proof that the money order was cashed. They looked it up. It was cashed. It was cashed by the city of Chicago. And I got her a copy, and she used that to prove to the city. But I had to prove I had accomplished the task. And if not, I got verbally chastised. But you have to figure out how you're going to work out a balance. You can't let each other off the hook. You have to be held accountable. And if you screw up, how are you going to fix it? So you hold each other accountable. You don't turn a blind eye to their mistakes. Vice versa. Like in our thing, I agreed. Why do you think I got an MBA? Or went into the master's program. I forced out in 2016. But anyways, I agreed. We said right there when we were dating. And part of it, I would obtain my master's degree. It was agreed upon. She would attain her master's degree. She did. I was. We held each other accountable. These weren't things that, no, you're changing. No. You're holding each other to it. You said it, you accomplish it. Because couples always use excuses. Oh, I don't feel like it. I'm not getting up. I'm not doing that today. We'll just, okay. But no, that's not how it works. My sister, on my 21st birthday, I went out that night. I went out with a bunch of friends, got drunk, everything else. The next day, I had to babysit all of her kids. I was sick to my stomach. It didn't fucking matter. Get up and take care of the kids. So I did. She went to work and gone for 8 to 10 hours. And I had to play with them. I had to feed them. I had to change them. I had to do everything. I had to stay attentive. And I did. She didn't care I went out and got drunk. I have things to do, and I have responsibilities. And I have to pony up. But you keep on thinking this is a thing of the church. Oh, it's forgiven, and it's okay. Not without atonement. And you must turn away from sin. So again, just like anything, it's an accountability. Do you know that? The Bible is all about accountability. When you do something wrong, you're supposed to get punished. And through that, you learn. But somehow, all these people can do all this fucking evil to me and never be punished. So they don't learn. You don't kick them in the fucking ass. You don't punish them. So, some reason, they don't learn. Oh, that's right. You're not a good mentor, a good teacher, and they stray off course. But if you did that, they would be forced to atone, turn away from their sins, never to repeat that sin again. And that means they've actually fucking learned. That's the whole point of the system. That's what the Bible is all fucking about. And you get leaders like Jesse Jackson. He's a piece of fucking shit. And I get to listen to people praise him. I know different from behind the scenes for people that were at Operation Push and everything. So, big difference between what they say, all fucking fluff, and the truth. He is not that person they made him out to be. And how does that, when you lie, everybody else knows it's smoke and mirrors. Smoke and mirrors. So you just set up excuses for everybody else. Because Jesse Jackson did it and got away with it. And you're praising him at his funeral and everything else and so on. Okay. Well then, no one's held accountable. So I don't get it. Ted Bundy, did they read the eulogy at Ted Bundy's funeral? Ted Bundy, he was one of the greatest men ever. He was such an awesome person. We appreciate him cracking all those skulls and, doing all those horrible things. And so, at the eulogy, so there's no negative eulogies where we hope he doesn't burn in eternal damnation for all his crimes that were immense against humanity, that this person was truly evil and his crimes were horrific, and because we put him to death, may God have mercy on his soul. Because we hurt him, so that should account for some mercy. Oh, that's why they say that when they do the death penalty and they hang him, God have mercy, because we want God to take into account our retribution against them, their suffering that we put upon them. That's why they say, if anyone doesn't know, may we have mercy, may God have mercy on their soul. When they stick them in an electric machine, on the electric chair, and fry them, it's because God needs to take this into account. It's a righteous statement. It needs to take into account the suffering we gave them for their sin. Because it would be unfair if God didn't account for the suffering we put them through. So that's why we say, may God have mercy on their soul. So we're praying that God gives them a fair sentence, taking into account the punishment which we incurred upon them for their crimes against humanity. That's why you say, you're not wishing them out of eternal damnation. You're just wishing them that God punishes them correctly, taking into account the punishments that we gave them. So, again, being fair. But for some reason, that righteousness tends to escape. And so I don't get couples, and you watch them drift off and do things, and they don't hold each other accountable. It's just like not holding your kids accountable. And what do? You let them get away, and they do more and more, and they push the boundaries. It's the same thing the city of Chicago does. Why do you think we had all these drug dealers and people doing all these crimes? Because they got away with it. And as they got away with it, the reward grew because the punishment wasn't there. And so they did more of it, more of it, more of it. What did God say? If you hurt me, you need to be punished. You can't let them get away with it. They need to be held accountable for their crimes. And they need to be punished swiftly and severely. Because if not, then you encourage more of it. And so do people want to walk down the street and have people hurting them left and right? I mean, a righteous person? Or would they assume that those people would be punished swiftly, discouraging them? Why do you think they cut off the hand and foot in Saudi Arabia? If losing the hand isn't enough, the foot doesn't go first. The foot goes second. The reason they take the hand, because walking around and doing things, you still have one good hand, and the other arm is still good. It's just you don't have the hand for it. But if you continue to steal, then they take the foot. Why? To hobble you, so you can't steal, making your ability to get away seriously hindered. So any crime you do, you're not going to move fast away from the crime. That's why they take the foot. You didn't learn by losing a freaking hand, so you governed losing a foot. And it's supposed to hobble you, so you can't get away quickly, so you don't think about doing the other crime. You have less ability to commit another crime. That's why they take the foot, preventing you from doing another crime. Now we have prosthetics, but how do you balance that out? And we're talking Saudi Arabia and them to their citizens. How do we balance that out if you get a prosthetic hand and it works incredibly well? Do they get a very sophisticated prosthetic that moves well, or do they get like a prosthetic that is, not that good? Because it defeats the purpose of taking the hand or the foot if you give them something that gives them equal ability or greater. That the hand has more strength or something along those lines that even makes them greater. Then that negates the whole system. You felt sorry for him and you gave him a prosthetic hand, and then it negates the whole form of punishment. You just unwound their legal system. You took it all away, so they don't suffer. They don't have diminished. And that's why God said, if you diminish my life, I don't deserve to suffer. So, but you decided you're going to diminish my life so you can live better. So you'll take my life and destroy it and make it worse so you can live better. That's not how it works. A rising tide raises all ships in the harbor, but what do they get? The person that raised the tide sits above everybody else. They cause the tide to rise. You look at it, any firm, any producers group, the person who made the tide ride, I go to all these meetings all over the country for different producer groups, and the one that made the tide rise the most sits above everybody. They have the best of everything. They have the greatest recognition, the best of everything. We call it the GOAT. They're the greatest of all time.